I've interviewed 100 people at DreamHack this week, and I've had the time of my life. I played a handful of alpha games. I used the opportunity to introduce myself to creators and cosplayers. I even asked questions about their own goals for DreamHack and the competitions they were competing in. But that isn't all. I looked at every detail of the artist alley, where they kept the artists in small shops. It was just like a marketplace. I won a 1v1 overmatch when I don't even play Overwatch. I even got to see the cosplay contest for all 3 days, which was fabulous. Love the cosplayers. Honestly, the whole convention experience, since this was my first time at a full-on convention, was amazing, and it was definitely worth my time. Now, I wanted to get started with explaining my connections, because the first thing I did, I interviewed 100 people in line, bro. And this was the second day of the convention, not the first one. So after the first day, I took the time to think about what I wanted to do at the convention and what I wanted to accomplish. So what I wanted to accomplish was talking to people. So during the second day, I went around, I searched the area, and then I found just the perfect place. The competitor line for Halo Infinite, and it was an open free-for-all. So when I see this line, I'm looking at it like there's maybe like 50 to 75 people there. And I don't exactly remember because I've had more experiences at Dream. But I honestly also didn't realize what I was getting myself into, because on the first day, that's what happened on the first day. I had lost my voice because I did 2 chants before we even entered, and it was worth it. I got my 2 chants, I lost my voice, and I was just over there like, dang, I can't speak in this low monotone voice, my actual voice normally. So whenever I did try to speak, it would just completely different. But let me continue. So at the beginning of the line where I started, I just went ahead and saw down pathway where I could begin. Now this wasn't in like, oh, those little black bars that be blocking people off type of deals. This was an open line. The people, honestly, you could just walk straight through, no one would care. So I just started at the beginning where those black bars did actually begin. And then I went down the full line. One thing I asked for everybody while I was going down this line was, what are you looking forward to in this competition? This is a key question because it makes people realize, like, what do I want out of this? What is my experience for coming here and waiting in this line? So for that, what I was thinking of, I got 2 majority answers out of it. The first one were the actual competitors. They were looking to get a win or a higher placement, which was honestly, go for it, man. You got that. Go for it. We all believe in you. But realistically, if I was in there, I would have won. The second answer was enjoying the competitive experience. As you know, there's some Halo players out there. They're just people out there that love to play a game and enjoy it. So they were also in the line. And overall, this made me, for the people looking for a higher placement, they were like years on it, years of experience. I'm talking Halo 5, Halo 2, and even for myself, I played Halo Reach. So I'm already up there. And most of their goals were like top 4, type 8 quarterfinals, trying to get better placements. But the one thing I did ask for those people was that, why don't they get one more step higher? Like, think about it. Would you want to try to win it all? Instead of trying to be in the top 12, you try to be in the top 4. And instead of just doing quarterfinals or pools, get into the top 8. Like, what is stopping them? The answers they gave me were unclear because they never thought about that. And I don't know if they ever thought they could do it themselves. So I gave it to them and said, why can't you go higher? So that's what I did. I encouraged them and asked them, why not go a higher spot? Shoot for a higher position. So that way, when they do reach that higher goal, they'll see their previous positions and be like, dang, I just shot for a winning placement. But you know what? I just hit top 8, which was my original goal, and I'm fine. And I enjoyed that, setting higher standards for themselves so that way they could see who they could become. And then for those who came for the experience, it was either their first time at the convention or enjoying the atmosphere, because they hadn't played competitive in the scenes before, or they already did play competitive but have been retired. Naturally, I would just wish them well for their experience. Just ask them how did they enjoy it, enjoy the competition, and just be casual for real, because that's how conventions work. And I find that with them enjoying their experience, they get to understand that they came to live life and learn something new, and to struggle for a grind with hopes and dreams and have to be a sweat all day, because that's what they didn't care for. But that's not the only group of people I talked to. I've also talked to the cosplayers, specifically the same day, but later in the day. And it was the video game cosplayers. There were characters like Bayonetta, Mario, and Luigi. Now, there are different versions of Luigi, like regular Luigi, Curse Luigi, and even Waluigi. They had the Halo Spartans, Master Roshi, and many more. One of the girls were dressed up as Sexy no Jutsu at the championship, but that's something I wish I could experience better. So over here at the cosplay competition, I'm hanging in the background because I'm charging my phone. And how do I use this opportunity? There's a whole line in the back of the competition where I'm charging my phone and I can just freely talk to them and ask them questions. What do? I went ahead and asked them questions. I asked them how long have they cosplayed, what were they looking forward to in the competition, and of course, who they were cosplaying as, because I know some of the characters, but half of them I did not know. And of course, there's always a niche in there. Like the biggest niche I remember was Brawl Stars character. Pretty interesting, right? But overall, they also wanted to enjoy their experience. Live in the character's vibe, enjoy how they built their costume, and appreciate the moment of them living in the cosplay. I feel like they have the most possibility of inspiration because they live on to be the characters, to enjoy the characters that they see in the video game and become that. And that's really about how imagination is. You become the person you want and want to be. Then that was my experience on the second day of the convention. That day was mostly like 2 hours of me talking to people. And then I just went around the convention again, went in a circle, checked everything out, which I want to bring to my next topic, the artist alley. Oh my God. In the middle of the building, they had the artist alley. This was the collection, the marketplace of stores, and so many different art styles and directions. My favorite ones personally were the weaponsmiths. They had curative swords, Destiny 2's hand cannons, even shields from different video games. But my favorite, and the one I got out of all of it, was one of 4 Keyblades from the Kingdom Hearts series. I absolutely loved it. I won it for all 3 days and got it on my first day that I was there. Oh my God, it was worth it. Because I had people coming to me, be like, hey, did you make that? I was like, no, I didn't. I got it from here. Oh, are there anymore? I was like, I don't know. It's in the artist alley. You're gonna have to check. But by the 3rd day, it was to the point where people were like, I wish I had one. Where'd you get that? But there's no more left. It is, by the way, this was a dude's chick, bro. I'm over here like, dang, she wanted it, bro. The Kingdom Hearts sword. I'm about to unlock a girl's heart for real. Let's go. But of course, that's not the focus. I'm over here just happy as fuck. I got a 1 out of 4 swords. And now it's hanging right to my left with my hoodies. So there were a lot of more stores there. Most of the stores had like Pokemon stuff, Hollow Knight stuff, Plants vs. Zombies, and so many other games, especially animes too. Oh my God, wait until I'm gonna show you the anime art. The main goodness about having so many stores is that each one of them too had their own styles of art. There were pixelated characters and maps, CR-made characters, stickers, and for all of them, and tons of artwork. Posters that people made were absolutely phenomenal. Here are some of my favorites, but honestly, it was just so much art, too much art for me to comprehend. I had to literally take pictures and videos of the people that I wanted to get art from and to enjoy, even attempt to commission. That artist alley, definitely huge, take a hit to my creative mind, and honestly, loved it because I can't do art myself. I am a programmer, and with me being a programmer, let me lock in right here to the best part, my favorite part of DreamHack. The indie playground. I practically call this my domain expansion because I played half of the games there and I was so locked into it whenever I did play it. Now, there were about 5 games with bugs in it that only the developers had reached for themselves because no one else was playing the games that much. Or I'm a developer myself, I just got the touch. Out of my top 5 games, so let me go ahead and list my top games. Number 1, running Overdrive. This was a fast-paced 2D platformer and shooter about delivering a bomb to a CEO of a company. This was honestly difficult. I had to do parkour across the whole map while dodging lasers, cameras, and spikes just to get caught by a camera at the last minute and needed to go all the way back to spawn for a different route. Bro, every time I got caught by the camera, it was painful because I had to go back. I would still get damaged, and then I couldn't let the package get damaged too. So I had to be careful with how I handled it while getting shot at by lasers, but it is what it is. And then when I did reach the end of the floor or each level, there would spawn 2 enemies. 2 enemies might sound a little bit, but when one of them is shooting a whole laser gun at you, and they gotta have a giant robot next to you that either also shoots black voids, aka black holes at you just to explode, or even just a flamethrower, bro. It's gonna get difficult, bro. The only thing you got is either double jump and you still gotta protect the package. Like, bro, that was definitely difficult. It felt like I was in a bullet hell for real. After that, to the point where I finally, because the first day I did it, it crashed on me, which was all right. Stuff happens. And then the second day I did it, I ended up getting to the boss of the demo where he had 5,000 health, but here's where I messed up. I took off my infinite ammo for lifesteal. So I went into that boss with lifesteal, only doing 7 damage a shot. So I had to sit there for I don't even know how long and just kill until I killed the boss. Like, dang, that was a long time for real, but I didn't care. I had to complete me a demo. So I sat there, grinded, cheesed him until I beat him. And even the developer looked at me and was like, dang, normal, I thought you'd go for more of a damage build. Keep in mind, I didn't see any damage increases, bro. I only saw fire rate and infinite, and I grabbed myself the infinite ammo ability. Now, for the second game, it was suck it up. See, the story behind the game is so relatable because you have to climb an elevator into your company after your boss and other employees keep just bullying you, give you that employee treatment, bro. So what you do is, in this top-down 3D shooter, you're over here shooting the employees and bosses' own abilities at them. It looks like you're playing as Casper over here shooting your ghost. But realistically, bro, you're over here, you gotta literally suck up the poison, the electricity, and fire out of the abilities and then just shoot them back at it. You can use it to melt metallic walls, bro. And it was honestly a real spin onto the concept, especially since the title of the game was called Suck It Up. So I like the combat potential of the game. I just wish the boss had more health in the demo, so that way I can feel how the boss's difficulty instead of just completing objectives around the map and having a survival mechanic. One thing I do regret is not getting the sound designer's contact, because I'm a programmer myself and he was like, yeah, we're from a college that's near where you live. So I'm just like, oh, so that's cool. I should got his contact so that way I could sneak into the college, but I'm not sneaking into college. People don't even want to be in college, but they got what they deserve, and that's why they were exhibitionists at DreamHack. So I joined the Discord server, and now I'm just gonna watch out for the game on my Steam list. Now for number 3, I gotta give it to 1000 Cuts Rumble. And straight to the point, bro, it was a fun game. But for me and the way I play games, it was slow. It's a 2D roguelike. So the game is a 2D roguelike where you face off in a linear battlefield and story. And since it is 2D roguelike, it was a one hit, bro. You could only get hit. If you get hit once, you're dead. You have to restart. Scary, but you have parries, you have dodging, you still have attacking. And the one problem for me, bro, it was the input, bro. This game is made in Unity, so I don't know how, but the input was so low. So I'm over here trying to survive, trying to parry my task correctly, dodge, bro. But as soon as I would get into like a group of 4 people, oh, I was cooked. I think now that I'm thinking about this, I had to dodge out of the group and then just go one at a time again. But I would just get stuck in the middle trying to attack. And then whenever I parry, I would also just try to attack back at the player. So it was like, bruh, it is what it is. But I definitely recommend it to those who are truly patient. I'm not talking about the time patient, but understanding of when to actually dodge, attack, and time your inputs. Oh my God, bro, time the inputs, bro. Because it is what it is. Now for number 4, I have to go for Dreamsend Wintersong. It's a tactical turn-based game. Honestly, the genre was new to me. I haven't played a strategy game where you have to tile. You have to move across tiles and attack characters. But for it being a slower experience, it was still definitely funner. And then especially since for like each characters, now this is probably across the genre, but for each characters, you had to do attack, move, and wait. Of course, waiting was just skipping and finishing the turn. Attacking though, it was using one character ability and using a normal attack. So that way I was able to debuff the enemy or buff myself and then attack the enemy, which was really helpful. Now the moving in the tile-based format across the map, it was weird. I feel like the good thing is that there were still health tiles to where you can heal. And since it was about 25% of the max health, it helped out for only one of the characters, and then I healed for 2 characters, but it really helped out for one of the characters that I worked with. Plus the regular moving space, when you do move, it's like you get 5 tiles to move from, so it's plenty of work to work with. I'd say I definitely recommend it to people who are more into tactical and strategic works. And then before I get to my last one, I like to give 2 honorable mentions. Of course, I played more games. Of course, there's 4 I can have in mind, but I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna do Mindflux, Dead Men Walking. It's an RPG just like Baldur's Gate, and it was honestly fun. It was fun for moving around, but it was such a small game because it is an RPG that I couldn't get into it myself. And then when they did get to the lore part, there was just so much text. That was honestly a lot of text for me to handle, and I couldn't pay attention to it all. But the climbing, the running, and then seeing the zombies trying to figure out the collisions was honestly worth it. And crazily enough, I got one of the bugs that only the developer got into that one. That's what I was talking about earlier. So yeah, so for my second honorable mention is Contraxis. It's a roguelike 2.5D RPG where you're in Microsoft Paint killing zombies, bro. I swear to God, you have to use your cursor to encircle around the enemies to do damage. And then once you do kill the enemies, they go into your inventory as summons. So you maybe have like one zombie in there, another zombie spawns. You would use your summon down, use it only with one charge. And so that way you don't have any more now. And then it would actually attack that zombie while you're still using your cursor to kill him himself. So that was unique as hell, bro. That was honestly great. I just wished I was able to lock in at that point, but I was still waiting for another event to start, the convention. For number 5, honestly, this one was out of nowhere. I gotta give it to Portal Fall. I don't know what the game felt like, bro, but it was like Wizard 101 without the payment. It was another roguelike where I had to upgrade myself as I killed enemies. I would get levels, I would still get abilities, but it was a roguelike. It would be like 15 enemies coming out of the portal. Not at once, it was at 3. Wait, Monster Legends, the mobile game. It was more like that. And you had enemies coming out of a portal attacking you. And you're just a normal guy with wizard abilities fighting wizards and skeletons. And honestly, bro, it was matter of fact crazy, bro. Now, whenever you play the game, it will have you do a spin for the different dimensions, but since it was a demo, there wasn't no difference between them. And then during the battles, I was good at defending myself and attacking, but I did not have any heals. Oh my God, having no heals was suffering, bro. So I ended up losing. I was like, all right, that's a good game, and I was out of here. And then overall for the indie game playground, I had fun. There was a lot of more games I played, but most of those there's a lot more games I could have played, but they weren't specific to me and the types of games I played. I went out a little more, but it wasn't me. But other than that, I honestly loved going to DreamHack. I absolutely think the experience for talking to all the Halo players, cosplayers, and the other people I met there. And I have y'all Instagrams if y'all ever see this. But honestly, that was a fun time.